Let's now head to the courts. Human rights lawyer and activist Dele Farotimi has been arraigned before an Ekiti State Magistrate Court. Farotimi, who was arrested in Lagos on Tuesday by operatives of the Ekiti State Police Command, was brought to the court at about 10:25 a.m. Wednesday. The activist lawyer is being prosecuted on a 16-count charge of defamation of character against a legal luminary, Afeba Balola. He was accused of having maligned and defamed the character of Afeba Balola in his recently published book titled Nigeria and Its Criminal Justice System. Farotimi's lawyer has confirmed that he was not granted bail. The Ekiti State Police Command has also confirmed Farotimi's arrest, stating that he was apprehended after failing to honor previous requests for questioning. The court has adjourned the case until December 10. Reacting, the Nigerian Bar Association has called for the release of human rights lawyer Dele Farotimi over allegations of libel leveled against him. A statement by the president, Afam Osigwe, on Wednesday said his arrest was a breach of the rule of law, contending that defamation had since been decriminalized in Lagos State. The NBA maintains that Farotimi's arrest was not only in clear violation of legal principles, but an affront to the rule of law. The association urged all law enforcement agencies to prioritize respect for human rights and adherence to the principles of legality. To take this discussion further, we're joined by legal practitioner and public affairs analyst Tohwo Oseruvwoja, who is joining us from the United Kingdom. Thank you for giving us your time. He was arrested yesterday and arraigned today. What does this say about this developing story?
Good evening, Felicity.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Go ahead.
Yeah. If you look at it carefully, you discover that it's worrisome. Basically, it's worrisome that he was arrested yesterday and was charged to court today. We want to commend the justice system in Ekiti State, whereby a charge was filed today and it was assigned to a magistrate same day, and the person was arraigned that same day. And surprisingly, the person was also denied bail that same day in an offense that is bailable in nature. I think the essence of discretion of the court does not really matter in this particular offense, because if you look at the punishment for the offense he's being charged for is less than 3 years, which is a misdemeanor offense and is bailable. Then secondly, you also look at the count one or the charge one of the charge. You discover that it was charged for conspiracy. Then you look at the charge again. Can one person conspire against himself, or can one person form the offense of conspiracy? These are issues that are cause for concern when you look at the administration of criminal justice in Nigeria. And when you look at the way the police dive into issues. As a matter of fact, he was invited, yes, and he did honor the invitation. That is an issue that the police need to prove, because when you are invited by the police, irrespective of whatever reason, in as much the reason is disclosed in the letter of invitation, it is the duty of law-abiding citizen to honor the invitation. So these are issues that need to be looked at too. Then the second issue, I will look at it from the perspective of the charge in question. You want to question the rationale behind the police instituting such an action. When the Supreme Court has held in a case that is a recent case, 2021, when the NBA is saying that it has been decriminalized in Lagos State. No, by virtue of that decision of the Supreme Court, that categorically stated Section 39 of the Constitution, which in representation of the supremacy of the Constitution, every other act that want to criminalize the said offense, or the said that want to criminalize defamation, fails at the surface of it all. Then you look at the other area of publication. Where was this book published? Is it in Ekiti State? Where does the defendant reside? Dele, is it Ekiti State? So these are questions that calls for full reform of our justice system.
I mean, we've seen how activists and journalists criticize public figures here in Nigeria. How does this case impact the exercise of freedom of speech and expression in the country?
Well, freedom, you see, is not getting in a platter of gold. People definitely pay sacrifice for you to attain freedom. So it should not be an issue that would deter journalists or that would deter activists. But another thing again is that we should look at it from the other perspective, because outside what is said or what the procedure will question of the arrest of Dele, we should also look at the extract of that book in question. Because we should know that the difference between a lawyer and let me use a good example of very dark man, is that a lawyer knows where and how to express or to exploit means of addressing the ills in the society rather than coming publicly. Do you understand? Because if you look at the extract in the charge, you discover that it's worrisome. One, if Dele could tell Nigerians that is he part of the process, one, then two, when those allegations or those statements are credited or those allegations raised in those in the extract of in the book, did he approach the appropriate authority? Let's forget the Supreme Court is also subject to the NJC. And let me tell you the simple truth that the justice that forms the Supreme Court, they can also be punished or questioned if they find themselves wanting in such act. So these are issues, but coming out in such book is questionable. So let's try and exploit the means laid down by law to address the ills in the society. Remember, the court is not a court of public opinion. Whatever the public will say or perception of the public towards an issue is quite different from the legal process, is quite different from the legal phase which the court looks at.
All right. Tohwo, thank you for speaking with us. We appreciate your time.
You are welcome.